Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 154 in the book of Acts. I'm going to title today, Under the Lee of the Lord. Under the lee. It's a sailing term, meaning taking a dodge behind an island to protect yourself from the winds of a storm. Today we're going to look at real people in real storms, actual physical storms, using real strategies, fighting real wind, and ending up really off course and in trouble. The reason is because a couple of authorities have sent Paul to Rome. Now that's all great in theory, but how do you get him there? How do you get Paul to Rome from Caesarea across the Mediterranean Sea is the answer. And who do you send him with? And how do they get there safely? So you're going to learn about sea travel today from Acts chapter 27. Verse 1, and when it was decided by other people, not the people in the story, it's people above them, that we should sail for Italy. So this would be Luke saying the grand we here. So Paul and Luke should set sail for Italy. They delivered Paul and some other prisoners. So now we know that it's Luke, it's Paul, it's other prisoners. It's a Augustan cohort guy named Julius. So he's in charge of 100 soldiers, and so there's more than one prisoner. There's more than one guard. There's more than one friend. We'll find out about that in a second. And embarking in a ship of Adramyttium, something like that, which was about to sail along the ports along the coast of Asia, we put out to sea, accompanied by Aristarchus. Now, who's he? He might be Paul's best friend. He's mentioned many times in the scripture as a constant companion of Paul, and he is here. He was the guy that they were trying to get Paul in Ephesus and drag him into the riot, and they couldn't find Paul, so they got Aristarchus. They thought he was the next best thing, so that tells you what a good friend he was. They describe him as a Macedonian from Thessalonica. Okay, verse 3. The next day we put in at Sidon, and Julius, that's the centurion, treated Paul kindly, isn't that nice, the centurion, and gave him leave to go to his friends and be cared for. So Paul has friends in all kinds of places and has friends in Sidon, and they take care of him and feed him or whatever. All right, so they're on some sort of a small coastal ship that's dodging between islands at this point. And putting out to sea from there, we sailed under the lee of Cyprus. So Cyprus is a big, huge island in the Mediterranean, and they're sailing under the lee of it. That is on the windless side or the less windy side of it to protect the boat. And they tell you why they're sailing under the lee is because, verse 4, because the winds were against us. So you even find out the wind direction. I think this is just hilarious. The winds were against it. They want to go basically from east to west down the Mediterranean, and the winds apparently are blowing from west to east and preventing this sort of a thing. So they're hiding along the coast of an island, and then they have to sort of make a run for it. So here it is, verse 5. And when we had sailed across the open sea along the coast of Cilicia and Pamphylia, we came to Myra in Lycia. So these are on the southern coasts of Turkey. They have to make a run across big open water, and they make it. And they're at another port, and they're going to upgrade ship now. So here it is, verse 6. And there the centurion found a ship of Alexandria sailing for Italy and put us on board. So this big posse of prisoners and guards. And verse 7. We sailed slowly for a number of days and arrived with difficulty off Cnidus. And as the wind would not allow us to go further, we sailed under the lee of Crete off Salome. So here we find them, apparently this is off course. The wind did not allow them to go to the correct side of the island as was typically done at this time. We found the going slow and difficulty. And why? Because of the wind. So we get all these sailing details today. All right, verse 8. Coasting along it with difficulty, we came to a place called Fair Havens, near which was the city of Lasea. This is on the island of Crete, which is another big, huge island in the Mediterranean. Verse 9. Since much time has passed and the voyage was now dangerous, which they can't emphasize enough, because even the fast was already over, Paul advised them. So they're late in the season, and the Mediterranean apparently gets nasty seasonally. And then Paul gives this prophecy, saying, "Sirs, I perceive that the voyage will be with injury and much loss, not only of the cargo and of the ship, but also of our lives." But the centurion paid more attention to the pilot and to the owner of the ship than to what Paul said. And because the harbor was not suitable to spend the winter in, the majority, so there's some sort of a democracy here, which is crazy, they put out to sea from there on the chance that somehow they could reach Phoenix, a harbor of Crete, facing both southwest and northwest, and spend the winter there. So it seems they're a little bit desperate. So we find out all these details about Paul's friends and wind direction and their concerns of the open sea and upgrading ship size and the speed of travel and the difficulty. And I think the picture here today is we get all these sailing terms and stuff, but I want to emphasize the one today, under the lee of. Who of us doesn't have storms of life? Who of us doesn't have wind that blows against us in certain areas? And I just wanted to use that picture of being under the lee of the Lord, using the Lord as a protection, like these islands did from the storms that hit, and reducing their ferocity, using the resources that we have. So like they used their islands to protect themselves, let us today be under the lee of the Lord. Use the Lord as a protector for us. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks